In northern China there lies a place called Zhurihe, meaning heart in Mongolian. A grand military parade was held here to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Taking a new look after reforms, the Chinese military is proudly advancing into a new era. While the Chinese people followed the military parade, the world's eyes were on the Chinese military. In his address at the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, stressed that China would adapt to the trend of a new global military revolution and to national security needs, upgrade its military capabilities, and see that, by the year 2020, mechanization has been basically achieved, IT application has come a long way, and strategic capabilities have seen a big improvement. China would also see that, by 2035, the modernization of national defense and armed forces is basically completed, and that by the mid-21st century, the People's Armed Forces have been fully transformed into world-class forces. This People's Army started its arduous journey from Nanchang, and has ever since gone through the magnificent and glorious years of revolutionary struggle. Through this, the Jinggangshan spirit, the Long March spirit, the Yan'an spirit, the anti-Japanese invasion war spirit, and the Xi Baipo spirit were nurtured and have been handed down from generation to generation. Such revolutionary spirit is inherited like blood and genes, and has become the collective memory of the Chinese nation. It is a source of enlightenment for the Chinese military, a powerhouse of military development, and the beacon under which we steadfastly and confidently march forward into the new era. In 2018, at the new historical starting point, the PLA, remaining true to its original aspiration and keeping its mission in mind, will thoroughly study and implement Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, comprehensively realize Xi Jinping thought on strengthening the armed forces, and endeavor to achieve the party's goal of building a strong military in the new era, and make the PLA a world-class force. At 7:36 a.m. on 1st of January 2018, the PLA Guards of Honor and the PLA Band, for the first time, performed their duty at the national flag-raising ceremony at Tiananmen Square. Starting at midnight the same day, the commanding structure of the Chinese People's Armed Police Force was adjusted, so that the PAP no longer reports to the State Council but the Central Military Commission. At a ceremony on the 10th of January, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, the Chinese President, and Chairman of the CMC, conferred the flag to the PAP and gave instructions. We have reshuffled the Academy of Military Science, the National Defense University, and the National University of Defense Technology in order to build a world-class military research institution, a comprehensive university focusing on joint command, and an institution of higher education, thus bringing about new prospects in military personnel development and military science and research. We steadily promote reform in military policy and institution. The newly revised Regulation on Civilian Personnel in the Military has been issued to reshuffle the system for posting civilian personnel, marking a step forward in reforming the institution on employing civilian personnel in the military. The newly revised PLA Regulation on the Military Interior Service, Regulation on Code of Conduct, and Regulation on Military Formation have been issued as well, laying the legal foundation of standardization of the Chinese military in the new era. Over the past few years, bold and resolute reforms in defense and military fields have proceeded swiftly and steadily. In major areas, historic steps of modification have been taken, and historic breakthroughs and accomplishments made. As a result, the mechanism, structure, pattern and feature of the People's Armed Forces have been thoroughly renewed. With the new era starts a new journey. On the 3rd of November 2017, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, the Chinese President, Chairman of the CMC and Commander-in-Chief of the CMC Joint Operations Command Center inspected the CMC Joint Operations Command Center. This clearly demonstrates the CMC's commitment to implementing the principles espoused at the 19th CPC National Congress and focusing on fighting and winning wars. On the 3rd of January 2018, at the very first ceremony opening the annual military training and drills, Xi Jinping gave an order to the whole military.
我命令全军各级要强化练兵备战鲜明导向，坚定不移把军事训练摆在战略位置，作为中心工作，抓住不放，抓出成效。
As China and its military develop, the world force for peace grows. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the Chinese military has, in seeking win-win cooperation, been actively providing public security products and services to the international community and exploring a model of international military cooperation with Chinese characteristics. The Chinese peacekeeping troops in Lebanon have cleared tens of thousands of landmines and explosives in the Death Belt along the Lebanon-Israel border, amazing the world with zero casualties and the China speed, and demonstrating China's strength with practical actions. Since 2008, the PLA Navy has deployed 29 convoys to the Gulf of Aden and waters off Somalia, which escorted over 6,500 Chinese and foreign vessels, guaranteeing their complete security and the security of themselves. The task forces are therefore hailed as the most reliable guardian in the Gulf of Aden. On the 1st of August 2017, China's first support base overseas, the PLA support base in Djibouti, opened, which will enable China to better fulfill international obligations, including conducting escort missions in the Gulf of Aden and waters off Somalia, and humanitarian aid. In 2017, a PLA Navy fleet paid a visit to Sri Lanka, only to find that the country was suffering a severe flood. The Chinese officers and sailors extended a helping hand immediately, dispatching a medical team and handing over relief materials. This fully demonstrated the deep friendship between the peoples of China and Sri Lanka. In July 2017, the Chinese military dispatched the PLA Peace Train medical team to Laos for the first time. The team provided free medical services to 3,627 person times of military personnel, 432 person times of military families, and 2,477 person times of local residents. They conducted 16 surgical operations and handed out over 20,000 boxes of medicine. They also provided medical institutions of the Lao People's Army with 1,000 sets of medical equipment, devices, medicines and training appliances, opening a new chapter of pragmatic exchange and cooperation between the two militaries. In April 2018, the first Defense Ministers' meeting of the member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization since the organization's expansion was held in Beijing. The defense leaders exchanged views on the current regional security situation and prospects for world peace, discussed ways and means to enhance defense and security cooperation among the member states, and agreed that the SCO should support building a community with a shared future for mankind, with strengthened defense and security cooperation. Over the past year, the Chinese military has participated in a great number of joint drills, training exercises, and military competitions. These include the joint drills between the Chinese and US militaries on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, the joint naval drills between China and Russia, the joint training exercises between the air forces of China and Pakistan, and the international military competitions. Such events not only provide training grounds to the PLA, but also boost friendship and mutual trust, and demonstrate the PLA's will and willingness to safeguard world peace and regional stability through cooperation.
中国始终是世界和平的建设者，全球发展的贡献者，国际秩序的维护者。中国军队始终是维护世界和平的坚定